Gallarducci.
Is absent as well, coming today, couldn't be here.
Mr. Verducci.
Here.
Mr. Shashovsky.
Here.
Ms. Cimaroli.
Here.
Mayor Copeland.
Here.
Solicitor McDermott.
Here.
Engineer Brett.
Here.
I'm Joe Power. Chief King.
Here.
Chief Castaigne. I think we have one. And then Director Miller.
Here.
Can I have the
Sure.
the list, please? Thank you. Mr. Mario Di Blasio, please come to podium.
Good evening, and first of all, thank you to all the councilmen and mayor for your volunteer service. I am a councilman in my small town, and I know what a thankless job it can be. I appreciate your service and dedication to the borough. I'm here to speak about the closure or the removal of parking on Station Street in front of my property and the other properties at 415 Station Street. To the best of my knowledge, council has done no official traffic study by a traffic engineer to determine the impact of parking there or not being there. The removal of this parking is having a serious negative economic impact on my property. Every one of my tenants, one of whom is here tonight, has to carry their shopping bags now over 600 feet. There is parking, okay, but theoretically, the parking could be occupied all the way to Railroad Street. They have to carry their groceries from a distance equal to this borough building. So when you leave tonight, think about carrying the groceries for your family from here to my building at Station Street. That's what 6 families have to do because the parking has been removed, okay? The borough has done this on a temporary basis. However, I find it hard to believe that that is the ultimate goal of this council. The parking authority has not even replaced the pay station that was removed over 8-10 months ago, maybe a year ago. They haven't replaced the pay station. When I asked, what are they doing? They said, oh, council's going to remove parking here. So that's not an official statement, but that's what their feeling was. So there's no pay
Parking
station.
authority has nothing to do with the council, correct?
You appoint, I agree, but in their opinion, and I said, that was an opinion, I want to be clear about
Okay,
that.
just
I don't mean that as an
wanna make
official
sure that-
statement, okay? Every residential tenant has to carry every single thing. If I want to work on my building, or my contractors want to work on my building, every tool has to be carried from one of the adjacent parking lots if there's parking available. This is having a serious detrimental effect. I've had 2 tenants in the last 10 days give me notices that they're moving out. My commercial tenant, which by code you require me to have a commercial tenant in the front of my buildings. My commercial tenant, who is a restaurant equipment dealer, has told me that if this stays, he's out at the end of his lease, and he may even try to break it early. There have been several complaints lodged at the eye care facility of their customers who have been inconvenienced by this. The neighboring building owners have written letters. One of them has asked me to read that letter, and I'll read it in a moment when I'm done with my comments, okay? This is having a real and tangible effect on the values and the quality of living for the people in our apartments and the businesses there. If you can't even stop and drop something off or pick something up, if you can't drop a tax return off to your accountant, I'm not just talking about mom and dad's place up there, I'm talking about the other accountant, okay? If you can't stop and do that, it's a real problem. Sun's shining now, folks, but when it's raining and you gotta walk 600 or 700 feet to get to your building, it's a real problem. And let's just go down the imaginary path and say that this is doing what council wanted it to do. It's alleviating this traffic problem. Let's just say it is. I don't believe it is effective at what was the goal, alleviating traffic problems. If you are, you're displacing your own citizens, your taxpayers, your voters, the people who vote for you, the families who live there, and the businesses who come here and do business in this town and pay business taxes and patronize the restaurants. You're displacing them for the joy and the value of the residents of Upper St. Clair and Mount Lebanon Township, who are principally affected by this traffic. The traffic problem is much greater than the 7 or 6 or 8 parking spaces, depending on the size of your car, at 415, in front of 415 Station Street. I am asking you to end this at 90 days and to keep our parking there as it has been as long as anyone here can remember. I didn't get a chance to go to the Historical Society. I drove an hour and 45 minutes to be here tonight, and I'm missing my Water Authority meeting. That was a very, an important meeting tonight. I'm missing those things to be here to plead with you to leave the parking as it has been for perhaps 100 years, for perhaps since the dawn of this borough. Okay? Please, at the end of the 90 days, assure us that this will end and we will get our parking back. Thank you, gentlemen, for listening to me. I just want to read the adjacent building owner's letter, if I could. My name is Stephen Harris. I am the owner of 407-409 Station Street. It has become apparent that the parking has been taken away from the front of our building without any notification or communication. We purchased the property with the ability to have potential for some parking and loading and unloading to allow the property to be functional. I understand there are likely some issues with the traffic due to the construction. The additional traffic we may be seeing through peak times is simply people outside of the community trying to avoid Chartier Street. We are the ones paying the taxes here, so please help us continue to run our businesses. I understand this is being introduced as a 90-day removal. Can we at least have middle of the day and overnight parking, or especially a loading time? Also, we hope that this is truly what has been stated as a 90-day parking ban and not a slick way to permanently take away what is needed to operate our businesses as we always have. How would anyone be able to move in or out of the building without at least a loading time only? There are plenty of places that cannot park, but at least loading is permissible so that it is not to shut down an operation. Please let us know how we can continue to work and do business here. Thank you for your time. Stephen Harris, owner of 407-409 Station Street. The other building owners had no idea that the parking was gone. Some of them have multiple properties. I know it seems crazy, but some of them have multiple properties and haven't seen the permanent metal signs that you bolted to the telephone poles. Make note, they're not paper. They don't say 90 days. They're metal and they're permanent, and they're bolted to the telephone poles. Thank you, gentlemen. Once again, you're making tough decisions. I appreciate your efforts. Thanks for volunteering. Thanks for doing the hard work. Please, please be professional about it. Be well.
Thank you, Mayor. I have not much to say, but this is a request by the public safety and the people on the other side that they're coming from their home and everything. We have just requested that the traffic is definitely all the way to Dewey Avenue. So the committee in the public safety, they did their study, and as you say, Mario, 90 days. That's not, that's it, that's going to continue or not. Public safety would have to look at again. Actually, I recommend that they will do so. I don't think I have to recommend it because that's an emotion. They will look at it again in 90 days. Right now, let's hope the 90 days that the bridge construction, it releases some of this tension, and a lot of these things can come back in a normal sometime. But right now, I talked to the chief or public safety chairman and the chair, whatever. Oh, it's Bruce. Chief, you have anything to say about that? You in the public safety?
I'm good.
Okay. are the three council people.
Three council
Yes,
persons?
yes.
Are any of them a traffic engineer?
No, they're not.
Okay. And what are the criteria by which they're measuring the efficacy of this, of this? These are more of my tenants. Okay? That are being displaced by this action. What are the criteria by which public safety is measuring the efficacy of this temporary removal of parking? Can you tell me that?
I would like to turn that into our legal department. Would be a better answer, if you could, please.
Sure, and it doesn't require a legal study. The actual purpose of, as you, I think, imagine you know, is the 90-day period is for them to study in a public safety manner, and they'll get feedback from the chief, they'll get feedback, and they'll get feedback from folks like you, and then they'll make a decision. I mean, the whole 90-day period is designed for them to take a look at.
I understand that, but my question is, what criteria are they using to determine the
General
efficacy?
public safety, efficacy with traffic flow, and again, they can
And
utilize.
what recording of traffic flow are they making?
I didn't say they were doing recording of traffic flow. I said that they were studying, observing. It doesn't require an engineering study for the committee based on feedback from, again, experience, observations of the police folks that will report back to the committee, and their determination of how they believe it works on balance, and then they'll make a determination going forward. They don't require an engineering study.
Never meant to infer that they do. Chief,
You asked.
what measures are you taking to measure the efficacy of the removal of this parking?
What I can tell you is during the school year, when the school buses ran pretty much every morning, I would sit at the intersection of Dewey and Bank Street to monitor the school buses and then follow them up Bank Street. And that was usually around 7:40 to roughly about 8 o'clock that would take place. And on numerous occasions, I can tell you, traffic was backed up so bad, it was actually backed up Bank Street from the intersection of Station and Washington
7:40 to about when?
to about 8 o'clock.
If my understanding, maybe I'm wrong, but parking was restricted there until 9 a.m.
Correct, but vehicles would still park there at times, and my midnight shift would.
So there were illegal
Hold on, my midnight shift on many occasions issued citations to those vehicles. They would start with warnings. Second offense, they would give them a borough tag. Third offense, they would issue a state citation.
I would certainly support any legislation that would allow the borough to tow. I would support that wholeheartedly. It makes your job more difficult.
We can tow on a parking violation in that situation, but I'm not for adding to hardships to people at that point. At that point, I'm satisfied with the citation. Once you remove a vehicle, I mean, as you stand here and say how this creates a hardship, when we remove somebody's vehicle, that creates a hardship too.
It creates a lawbreaker's hardship, right?
Yes.
In a
Yes,
penal
but that's a
system.
little extreme for a parking violation. And
So the opposite, if you don't enforce the laws, and I understand what you're saying, I'm apathetic to that, but the alternative is that all of these people are inconvenienced from now until the end of time. That they now have to carry their bags of groceries in the rain, in the snow, and sometimes in the sunshine too.
And on the flip side of that,
Okay.
not to interrupt you, if I'm driving up Station Street, and I'm sure I can speak for the majority of my officers, and we see individuals unloading groceries, construction workers unloading tools, we're gonna probably keep driving and figure, okay, they're just unloading their stuff and then gonna park their car somewhere else. There is common sense that we utilize in those situations. And I say that from being in the construction business before I was a police officer and having to deal with parking issues downtown in the city of Pittsburgh. Many a times we would pull up on the curb, unload what we had to load, and then we would go find somewhere to park.
Chief, I think you're doing a great job in this town. I really appreciate having you. This is not about the police not doing their job. Please, don't misunderstand me. And you've explained to me what you did during the school season, but my original question is what are you doing? Because the solicitor has mentioned that you're part of the traffic safety plan, and that I don't know what the rules are. What's the grading scale gonna be to get the parking back?
I have
Okay?
no idea.
And so,
And again,
what are you doing to participate in that in your role as public safety? You told us what you did during the school year. Now that it's gone, are you measuring any other metrics? Do you have
No.
any
I do
record,
keep
any
an eye.
logs?
What I do is, I keep an eye on the situation to make sure cars aren't parked there during my shift during the day. Do I notate that every time I drive by? Absolutely not.
So my point is it's not required. But what you're doing is you're experimenting with my rental income, Svetlana's rental income, the other buildings, you're experimenting with their commercial business income. You're experimenting with their feet and their baby who has to get carried through the rain and the snow and the sunshine sometimes too. You're experimenting with human beings. Do a proper traffic study. See what the impact is. Give the chief the tools he needs. Reinforce him in his position to allow him to take the measure he needs to assure that the parking is enforced the way it should be. Thanks, folks. I really appreciate, I appreciate the feedback. Attorney McDermott, thank you for the feedback. I'm not here to beat you guys up. Please do your best.
And again, this is part of the feedback that we're given. And some traffic things and the challenge that they had here and that they're looking at with the current situation and long term, we're using the opportunity to do that limited time experiment. It's not etched in stone, it's not permanent. One of their options based on the feedback is to not do it at all, to revert back. They can adjust hours, perhaps limited hours, perhaps have loading, et cetera, et cetera. That's the entire purpose of it. And again, it's not an engineering, where it's the engineer's design kind of, that kind of a traffic count thing. It's fairly observable how untenable it was during the periods that you discussed. And part of the process of the recommendation was to do the 90-day experiment to observe what happens when you do that. And then, again, based on all the feedback, including yours, I'm sure the committee and council will revisit it.
I wholeheartedly and absolutely disagree that it was clearly observable, okay? This is a complex problem. And it's not something that we can drive by once every 5 days or 10 days and witness, okay? The chief's talked about a very clear metric with school buses. I believe him. I'm not saying for 1 minute he's not absolutely correct, okay? But the key there is people were parking when they shouldn't have been there, okay? And you gotta give him tools and you gotta back him up. I know it's inconvenient for the lawbreakers, but now you're making the law-abiding citizens pay for their sins. Because it got so bad, from them breaking the laws, you're gonna say, we're just gonna eliminate it for the good people too. These people didn't do anything, okay? Maybe they might have parked overnight, I don't know. But if they did, they should have been towed or fined, whatever it takes, so that the only solution we have isn't removing it from now until the end of time. The parking's been there for probably well over 100 years. Please, do your best at your jobs. Do a traffic study. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Maria. Danny?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Not so much the council. I'd like to address the fire chief. And I realize that the gun bash is a very good fundraiser for the fire department. But don't you think there should be a different way of you doing it, especially in the climate we're having? And it looks like you're raffling off about 25 guns at least.
Yeah.
Okay? You go around and you tell everybody to check their carbon monoxide detectors, check their fire detectors. You have the trailer that at least you used to, and I know I work on Fire Hills, the smoke trailer that you teach kids how to get down and stuff. Now you're selling an instrument of death, you're giving away an instrument of death. This doesn't make sense to me, okay? And there's got to be some other way. Back in the day, you guys used to have bingo or the raffles and stuff, which I always did, but I just can't see raffling off guns as a fundraiser. Okay? And-
I'm the president, I'm not the chief, so ultimately, I guess. it
Well,
falls on
you're
my-
standing in.
On my shoulders, so, in regards to your, comment, I own firearms. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a gun enthusiast. I too, you have to wonder in today's climate, with everything that's going on, if, having a gun bash is a bad thing, okay? First of all, everybody that comes in that wins a gun has to pass a background check. There are states that don't have background checks. Pennsylvania does. If they don't pass a background check, they don't get the firearm. They also can take the cash value of the firearm, which a lot of people do. They come to, like I have an elderly lady who's probably in her late 70s, who bought 10 gun bash tickets. She even said, I'm gonna take the cash value of the gun. Her and her friends are coming. Not everybody that's there is gonna take a look. There are people that do. I'm not gonna try to pull a wool over anybody's eyes. But, the fire department, like a piece of equipment like our ladder truck, it's $1.5 million. You know how many bingoes that is?
I understand that.
It's a lot, okay?
I understand that
I mean,
completely.
just to keep the facility running, it's like $250,000 a year we have to raise.
Yeah.
This is something that we do, we volunteer our time and our efforts to protect them. First and foremost, the reason we're at the gun bash is to raise funds. We raise funds to keep the fire department's doors open and serve the community. Nobody there gets any kind of compensation for 100% volunteer. So there's only so many ways that you can raise funds, especially in today's climate. We actually just started having in-person events. Everything else has been online raffles and things like that over the course of since COVID started. I can understand your concern. I can understand anybody's concern. But it's not like we're going to be raffling off automatic weapons to everybody that walks in the door and become a school shooter.
Yeah, but going back, my son-in-law is a fireman for the city of Pittsburgh, and I have at least 3 nephews that are police officers. And, the stories I hear, okay? But just this year, I think there was 101 officer shootings, and just for the safety of the community, you don't know where the guns are going, okay? Chad could end up in domestic abuse at a call and go to the door and get answered with a gun, and then Mr. Miller has to come up and patch him up, or the worst case scenario, Dave Colton has to get ready for him. I just think
No, I know.
there ought to be better ways
I
to
understand.
raise money.
I understand your concern.
And I know, like the parking authority and the fire department are really not connected to council, to Bridgeville. However, I would be happy if we have to pay for our sewage, we have to pay for our garbage, if council throws a mill on the taxes to help the fire department out, I would much rather see that than going the way you're going. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. With the department today, I guess Dennis says his comment very well, and I think we all accepted that. But then again, pick up a toy, that toy could bring more money, maybe the other way. Always it is another way, especially in the environment we have today with the gun. But that's wasting money, and we'll leave it to that. Thank you. I don't know how to break this name. They from Patterson Avenue.
I'm just here to listen.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Oh, you just hear
More,
to listen.
yeah, that's.
246 Patterson, is that you?
Yep.
So you just want to listen?
I'm just here to
Well,
listen.
that's wonderful. Thank you to have you.
Thank you.
Bobby Friday.
It says a roll, doesn't say speak. That's why I said listen.
The last council,
Go listen.
a councilman that I have great respect for, made two comments that sort of bothered me. One had to do with his opinion that Bridgeville, I guess economically, was sort of trapped or stopped from expanding because of the situation that we're involved in terms of our traffic congestion. And the other, which I would like to mention, I think Bridgeville's opportunity now is greater than it has ever been in its history, because right now, Bridgeville is in the center of what is going to become, and what is already, four of the highest family income communities in Allegheny County. The rapid expansion in Collier and South Ed, the people moving into all those structures are making easily $80,000, $90,000 a year. We can take advantage of that, providing that you do, I guess, what you are updating the comprehensive plan will lead you to do. That would be to expect to continue the four-lane widening of Washington Pike all the way through Bridgeville, and four-lane widening of Barker Road all the way through Bridgeville. Second point that the gentleman made last week was, excuse me, that I think he was under the impression, even though you've all heard me mention dozens of times, that the only way to solve, for example, the two-lane bottleneck on Washington Avenue in Bridgeville is to use the Shady Avenue as a two parallel one-way couple. And that's been proposed by 6 different city planners who are professionals at this stuff, not just me. And I'd like to mention their names are, by the way, Classic Development 1988, Beckman in 1992, GAI Engineering in 1993, Macon Engineering, who you're hiring now to do your comprehensive plan in 2005, Allegheny Together in 2008, and also the Pittsburgh History and Landmark Study did the same thing and suggested the same thing in 2008. And to move to some other things, I want you to be fully aware that during the 50 years that Washington Avenue, Bridgeville, Collier, and South Fayette have been mired in unreasonable traffic congestion, PennDOT, widened Barger Road from 2.3 miles from 2 to 4 lanes, and widened 6 roads leading to the Route 19 business districts in Mount Lebanon and Upper St. Clair from 2 to 4 and 6 lanes. And in addition to that, during that same period of time, and many of us remember this, the Allegheny County officials spent $300,000 constructing the first mass transit system from downtown Pittsburgh to Felsenburg, Brookline, Dormont, Mount Lebanon, and Upper St. Clair, and they built it to the east entrance of the Southwest Village Mall. Also, what the county did was they spent $17 million, and you've seen it all, to build a 7-level story parking garage right next to the east entrance of the Southwest Village Mall, which remained empty until they built 300 parking units again next to it. I just want to mention the county and the state owe the people in Bridgeville a great deal of improvement in transportation and parking spaces, and I know you'll take advantage of requesting that. Another thing I want to mention, in 2021, when PennDOT was going to widen the South End Bridge by 6 feet until a few of us found out about it and went to the CEO of PennDOT and gave them a plan to build a 7-lane wide bridge, and they're building that now, okay? At any rate, part of the plan that they were given, that we gave, included having 4 lanes going from Bridgeville to Lafayette and having 2 lanes going from Bridgeville to Lafayette and having 2 lanes coming back from Bridgeville to Lafayette. The plan also included a left turn stacking lane on Washington Avenue, Chartier Street. Dan Sisson, the CEO of PennDOT at that time, shortly afterwards left. He was hired by Baker International Engineering. At any rate, the new CEO deleted the number of lanes going from Bridgeville and to Lafayette and vice versa, from 4 lanes to 2. And they also eliminated the left turn stacking lane on Washington Avenue to Chartier Street, which is a difficult thing for people to deal with. And I was going to say, I had asked a couple of you guys to contact PennDOT and ask them to put the to put the left turn stacking lane back in, and that went nowhere. And another thing, and I get this is more important. I think it was in the June Planning Commission meeting. Joe showed the planning commission 3 drawings about how to handle the Bar Hill Road, Baldwin Street problem in terms of, I guess, traffic and the flooding and so on. And none of the 3 problems, or none of the 3 solutions that you showed us, Joe, had anything to do with doubling the traffic through Bridgeville. None of them recommended making Bar Hill Road 2 lanes and running a ramp down to Baldwin Street, making that 2 lanes, which would result in the economic rehabilitation of Baldwin Street. Okay?
Thank you. Everything you've been saying for the last 50 years, I bet you, it's all on record.
Yeah.
If we ever think about to look those things, then it's on record, everything you've been saying. And you've been repeating the same thing, we know all about it. We fight for those things. That it is what it is sometimes, Bob. We hear this for years and years, especially you and I. So, United Bridgeville, I understand what you've been saying for the last 50 years. We work side by side with you on those things. You know that very well. But I give you plenty of time. We understand. You're repeating the same thing over and over. And you are in the minutes. No question about it. We always can look back. We thank you very much. You take too much time for us.
Well, I haven't taken far less time than my friend Mario Iglesias has taken, but
Well, there's 2 different criteria. We're dealing here in 2 different criteria. What can I say?
well, I just want to
It's
say,
ignorant for me to tell you to stop, but it's too long. Normally, we have 3-4 minutes, but we are very gracious council people
I
here.
just have one
To
more
keep in
question.
mind, okay, I am,
Nino, I have one more question.
okay.
For a long time, the Bridgeville officials, and you mentioned decades, were under the impression that the Bar Hill Road Bridge was causing the flooding of Baldwin Street, and Carroll Street, and McLaughlin Road. And about 4 years ago, I did a study of the creek flow and told you it wasn't the Baldwin Street Bridge, it was the culvert under Commercial Street. And 2 years after I did my flooding study, the University of Pittsburgh School of Engineering did a study and told you the same thing that I told you. And what I want to ask you is, you've asked the Allegheny County, who's in charge of the Bar Hill Road, you've asked Allegheny County to build a new bridge to replace the Bar Hill Road Bridge, and that essentially is not the problem. And what I'd like to know is, if the $5 million cost, is that the cost of it?
That's the price of phase 1 of the flood project.
Thank you.
There isn't a price yet on the Barnhill Road.
Okay, well, let's say it's $5 million. The flood project you're doing with the culvert, replacing the culvert is great. But what I'm urging you to do, and these things that I mentioned to you, is get them done. My point is, that's a perfect opportunity, which, like Tomer mentioned at one of the parking meetings, to do something about it, to do something about.
What did I mention, what did I do?
Excuse me, pay attention and
I watched you an hour ago. What did I say in the meeting?
At any rate, Mike suggested if you're going to mess around or do something with the bridge, to do something to correct or improve the entire intersection, which would be to run the 120-foot two-lane ramp from the intersection down to Baldwin Street. And you're right, I'm repeating these things. I'm hoping that you guys will be more aggressive now to get them done. And follow.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, thank you guys.
Thank you.
That's right.
I have somebody here from Station Street. Is that in reference with Mr. Di Brescia, or you? Go ahead, man. By no means. Go ahead, you can.
How much time do you have? I just asked up front because I speak with an accent. I don't want somebody to not understand me.
Okay.
Very fine. Okay. Okay. Well, I came here 23 years ago. I came as a physical therapist, worked in a hospital for 12 years, and I was a teacher as well, as a secondary job. And I came here, I opened my business in Mount Lebanon after 5 months being here, because I did some therapy on different people, and they begged me to open a business. So I opened European massage therapy on Cochrane Road at the Lucian Casti facility. Well, he was one of my clients, and his wife. They both died this month, and 16 years I built my big clientele, almost 10,000 people with 9 employees. I lost that business because he died, Lucian Casti died, and his wife died, and daughter sold the building in 1 month as a short sale. Luckily, a year before that, I bought the 413 Station Street building, which was short sale as well, was very bad condition, but I could remodel it and continue my business with my therapist. Unfortunately, it took too long time. I could only did 2 rooms. My therapist found different jobs, but my clients are still calling me until today. I have a lot of clientels who are much older, since I'm doing that for 22 years in Pittsburgh, in Mount Lebanon and Bridgeville. Those people much older. And they all, what business I do, I did European massage therapy because my business, what I do, it's not simply just relaxing massage. It's a neuromuscular therapy, if you want to know what it is. Quickly to explain, it's a pinched nerve for many years, but nobody can help. But there is certain people who have specific education, what I do. I have over 70 different therapeutic educations, 28 from Ukraine, 5 from Russia, and most of them from here, from very famous people and physical therapists who teach one-on-one or in groups. And every 2 years I continue my licensed therapeutic license degrees every 2 years. I take additional 5 to 8 therapy, new therapy, not old, same therapeutic educations. So I take new and new therapy to help my clients. So my clients who came to me 22 years ago, if I knew I can bring them here, I could build up people back to that door, who now cannot come to me because they cannot walk. What I perform on them, neuromuscular therapy, as I said, it's a problem with sciatica for years. Some of them couldn't walk, they walk now, but they cannot walk distance from parking on somewhere across the street or who knows where, and they call me when they can't walk. And they need to just step over the parking and be at my door. That's the reason I bought that building. And all my clients would call me when they cannot perform their function. For example, they can't walk, most of them. And if somebody help them to walk, they will bring them by their car, but they need to come back and park to pick up, and it will not take 5 minutes. By the time they take time from the table, it's not just neuromuscular therapy. There is orthobionomy, there is a cranial sacral therapy, there is all kind, just the neuromuscular therapy, and myofascial release. Fascia is connective tissue. All the tendons problems, all the ligaments. Now sciatica, for example, if you know what sciatica is, some people have sciatica developed when they fell when they were kids. And I have a lot of children who now finish college, have their own kids, and bringing their kids to me because they got injured, and emergency cannot help them. So what I'm asking you, would you really, for that backup traffic at 7:40 to 8 morning, but we have a sign at, from 9 morning possibly to park for my people to come and receive the treatment, now they cannot receive treatment. 4 of them got even tickets when that second big payment station was not working. They still got tickets. And they, because they live in Monroeville, in Penn Hills, and in Route 8, and one in West Virginia, they all will not come here for court for $16. I even paid them, I give them from the payment $20 back for the ticket to be paid, and don't travel for the court. Because it was so disrespectful to me as it is. I pay my taxes. I have mother 74, not in good health. I have son who is 16. And I'm the only one who working. If you close my business because you not allow people to park and receive their treatment, what they need, you're not just hurting my family or those clients' family. You're hurting yourself not to get my taxes. And what am I going to do with the building? I have a couple tenants who live upstairs who probably will leave because of the parking condition. And what am I going to do with the building? I can't even sell. The property sale price will drop because there is no parking in the front. Who is going to build any business there? Even if I go that way and sell the business and move somewhere else, how can I sell that building if there is no parking? Imagine you in your own situation. If you put your life into so much studying, helping people, I know therapy, what I do, nobody else do in the business, in the area here, because people coming from different states to receive their treatment, because there is not many people will spend amount of time and amount of money to get that therapeutic knowledge. I'm not saying I'm a god, but I do help people for 23 years. I can bring them here for the next time, and they will tell you they come back for 20, 22 years, 18 years, 15 years, every month, every other month to get their therapy, to survive until today with a good health. So right now, if you eliminate that parking because of some traffic, what about traffic on the Bower Hill? What about traffic where the Home Depot? That traffic, not mention an intersection. That even totally, when COVID started and I stopped having clients, I opened Airbnb, but also got a very difficult time. And I ended up to create a storage facility in the back of my building. What is under the ground? I don't have back way around to go there. I keep all my supplies for Airbnb, all my sheets, all my towels. I cannot, with my one business and another, very quickly to come and do all the cleaning and everything. I have so much additional stuff there on the back. Then I can come in, park the truck or park the car, and that's my second business, what I do. But I cannot even do that if you close that business, that parking. You totally eliminate me out of this area to perform my businesses. And I put so much of I'm 53, I have 3 grandchildren under 2.5 years old. I have mother, I have my older son, his wife. I'm trying to help everybody. And right now, there is parking, no problem at all. I can tell you, the Mayview Road has so much issues. There is so many other issues. If we look, then this is a problem, then we don't see a big problem, really. This Station Street is not a big problem for parking. After 9 morning, if you all just sit and take your time and see if there is really a problem and understand my situation, I will appreciate that, and I will just be so glad and I have your support for that. Because you just now healed my business totally. And my family will struggle, my clients will struggle, my other business will struggle, and I will end up sell my building, and you will lose taxes. For many years, nobody will pay what I pay. So think about that. Thank you for your support.
The next one will be Winfrey
Jeffrey.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Road in Washington.
Washington State.
Washington.
I'm here on behalf of Stefan
Okay.
and Mario. And Bridgeville has pretty much an unsolvable problem from where when I drive through it. You need to do a lot of work. I don't know if it's even possible to solve your traffic problem because of the way the city's built and the amount of people that go through there. But I don't think these 7 parking spaces, which will displace at least 2 businesses.
Well, the accountant, Chip.
And maybe if the borough would offer to buy those buildings from them at an inflated price and what they would make in the future, because you're essentially cutting their business out if you take away the parking. And true, I understand about the school buses, and it is congested down there, but I think from sitting there while I was parked there, people seem to find their way around. You know, and the school buses, yes, you probably have a point there. Maybe the school buses could detour that way. I don't know why you'd take a school bus up on that steep angle in the wintertime anyway. So maybe the borough could buy these buildings from these people with, an inflated price is what they would make, because if you put them out of business, then you lose tax money. So,
That's not really the
well,
question.
no, it's
I mean,
kind
it's,
of, I'm kind of being humorous here because look at the situation. You're
that
taking away
doesn't-
7 parking
That
spaces.
doesn't fix the problem.
No, nothing
It's
fixes it,
everybody
but
saying today.
seven parking
You know,
spaces.
We're looking here, 4 or 5 parking to affect all these people. Look, I know, I go to Mount Lebanon to a doctor's, I have an handicapped wife on a wheelchair in the rain and all that. You think I'm gonna go to Mount Lebanon, Board building and complain about that? The whole stretch in Mount Lebanon is like that. It's 48 years
Correct,
I've been
correct.
dealing with the wheelchair. I sympathize
Correct.
for you people. But, it is always but. But thank you anyway.
Well, would there be another parking provided?
Well, we have to
That-
talk to
that
parking
possible.
authority. You get a shuttle bus from, we have a parking places,
Correct.
maybe parking authority can afford shuttle bus, or, I don't know.
well,
This is
we're
a very
asking
big
that you reconsider.
solution for us to resolve. But anyway, thank you.
Well,
Thank
again,
you.
before he is driving truck and work with me on the businesses on daily basis for Airbnb, where he will park his truck to unload a heavy stuff from parking, from his truck.
I understand.
back and
Anyone
forth.
else that comes?
We understand that.
That's illegal parking. He come from Washington taking 45-minute drive, and we'll have ticket every day for illegal parking in front of my legal
And
business.
not just one person, and these people that live here. They
Yeah.
have
We
to watch-
understand.
And I understand you said about Mount Lebanon, there is so many side street. Tell me which side street do I need to tell my people who are handicapped too, who come to me for treatment and who will park somewhere and barely can't make it to my door. They'll drop it before they make it there.
Okay, thank you so much.
I appreciate if you would give definitely
Sorry.
help.
But all this inconvenience, which we do the right thing in one way, we inconvenience the other way. So we have to do some study here, okay? Thank you. That's it. So we go into our regular business, if you will, please.
When can we know the result about your study, what you will do right now, you said?
A motion.
Because I need to know what you do with
Excuse
my
me.
building, and I already have decreased climb.
A motion to, I'm sorry, ma'am, you still want to say something?
I need to know when will be the result of your study. You said we're
Oh,
going to.
it will be tomorrow.
I understand that. Everybody busy.
So, we're gonna work on it, okay, on all these.
Well, is that a month? Is it 2 months? Is it 1 week?
I can't tell you that. I can't say this is a magic stick that's done. It takes time,
Time like
Theoretically,
what?
it'll be 90 days. That's what
Yeah, that's for sure.
I think.
Okay.
So after the 90 days.
Then we'll do more study.
I'm sure you'll have easier time. There is no buses, school buses. You will not see any traffic right now. That will make clearly chances for you to do it right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, sir. A motion to approve the June 13th, 2022 regular meeting minutes as submitted. I need a motion.
So moved.
Nikki and Sonia second,
Second.
and Mr. Clausen. A motion to approve a July 2022 bill list.
Moved.
Mr. Verducci, I need a second. Second, Justine. A motion to approve the July 15th, 22, and 29 of August 5th, 2022 payroll. I need a motion. Mr. Colosimo and Nikki, everybody, please, I can call for a vote. Everybody approve it? Everybody say aye.
Aye.
And aye for all of them. I apologize. Thank you. I'm gonna turn it into, we'll make a little co-worker over here. Go ahead.
I need a motion to adopt resolution number 2022-10, resolution of the Borough of Bridgeville seeking a banner permit from PennDOT to hang a banner over Washington Avenue to the Bridgeville Lions Club Pasta Dinner on October 6th. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Steve?
I'll second.
Mr. Joe Ritchie. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, a motion to accept the lowest responsible bid received from Westmoreland Electric Services, LLC, in the amount of $114,019 for Chartiers Park lighting improvements. Project subject to contractor obtaining the required insurance certificates, performance bond, payment bond, and review of the approval of same by the borough solicitor prior to the execution of the agreement by the borough. Have a motion, please.
I'll move. I'll second.
Mr. Verducci, second, Nikki. Anybody want to be
Okay. You have all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion.
Motion to ratify the execution of change order number 2 for the Baldwin and Margaret Street demolition project, increasing the contract by $26,000 to re-include the demolition of the property at 404 Margaret Street. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Justine, second,
I'll second.
and Mr. Verducci.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. A motion to authorize the disbursement of $19,818 from the Capital Projects Fund to Stash Contracting for partial payment number 1 of the Baldwin and Margaret Street demolition project. Have a motion, please.
I need a motion for that.
I'll move. I'll second.
Mr. Verducci and Nikki, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, a motion to enter into agreement with Cargill Incorporated for the supply and delivery of rock salt at a cost of $88.96 per ton delivered as bid through the Shaycon Purchasing Alliance effective July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023 with 2 additional option years. May I have a motion, please?
I'll
Need
move.
a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. A motion to authorize the disbursement of $77,061.96 from the sewer fund to Osiris Enterprises for partial payment number 1 for the backwater well contract pack phase 5. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Nikki, I need a second.
Second.
And Mr. Verducci, second. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. A motion to accept and pay any commission due June 2022 real estate tax collector report.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All in
Mr.
favor?
Verducci and Justine.
Okay, motion. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Motion to acknowledge receipt of the June 2022 treasurer's report.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We have a motion to accept the June 2022 police report. Have a motion, please.
Motion.
I'll second.
All those in
Nikki
favor?
and Justin.
Aye.
Opposed?
Committee report. Administration.
I have nothing to report this time, thank you.
Well, nice to have you back, Nikki. You have a good time in Poland?
I had a great time in Poland.
And they tell you to cut your hair, right?
Fiance told me to cut my hair.
Oh, she's the boss. You look nice.
Thanks.
Nice to have you back. Nice to have you
Nice to be
back.
back.
Finance, Mr. Bertucci.
Not much to report other than the Active Allegheny grant was received and the project was closed. CDBG grant was awarded for the sidewalks in Tranquil Park and the ADA accessible picnic tables. Grow grant was submitted. All the demolition that we voted on. So pretty much we're at the halfway point and the funds are performing as expected. So I have to report.
Good job. Everybody who was involved with this is excellent job. Any question for Mr. Bertucci? Park and Recreation.
Okay, first I'll start off with the day on the avenue. I thought it went very, very well. I hardly know of any complaints. Everything was self-sufficient, no taxpayer dollars were used to pay for it, as usually the case. I'd like to thank all of them. There's so many people, I don't want to miss anybody's name, but the people, the volunteers, the folks that donated cash and prizes, and especially Cheryl Valentino, who's been running this thing since the onset. She does such a great job.
I second that.
We heard today we approved the contract for New Lights down in Chartiers Park. The paving is ongoing down there. It's a new playground down there. Park's going to be awesome down there. Not that it isn't already, but it's going to be so much better. What else? Cook School Park cameras are in place up there, so don't wreck anything up there. The movies in the park, the thing on Friday went real well. They were afraid of rain, so they erected a pretty large tent to cover everybody up. The movie on July 29th is To Catch a Thief with Cary Grant and Grace Kelly. And that's enough, that's all I have.
Thank you. A lot of those that in the public work report that the council has. Is anything else? Would you like to read about?
Well, we got the new backhoe delivered on July 7th, and the crew got trained on July 7th, so hopefully everybody knows how to run that thing, right, Chuck?
Yeah, no, each one else just take it out.
That's good.
They asked for it, but that's Caterpillar kind of went over.
It's gonna take some time. The public works crew cleared and hauled out tons of debris again for the Commonwealth Commercial Street, culverts, and cleared debris from the Bar Hill Road Bridge area of Buckman Road. And the crew is working on the gazebo down in Triangle Park, cleaning it up and staining it, I believe. And plus all the routine work that they do every day, so that's it for public works.
We have, thank you. Anything for public work, Chairman? Public safety. Bruce is not here. Anybody else have anything on public safety? Mayor Copeland, the honor.
We have an award from Shar West Council of Governments. They present a certificate to Bridgeville Borough in grateful appreciation of the sacrifices and hard work of all the municipal employees during the COVID pandemic. Their dedication allowed our communities to continue to provide essential services during a difficult time. Presented June 16, 2022. Sam Mucci, President, Michelle Lutz, Executive Director / CD Coordinator. And I have from the Corpus Christi Parish Knights of Columbus, save the date, Sunday, 9/11/22, Patriot Day ceremony to remember those we lost in the attack on the World Trade Center at Corpus Christi Parish, 212 Station Street, Bridgeville. Ceremony begins at 1 p.m. Thank you.
And it's all, Mr. Mayor, Mrs. Mayor, anything else? On the same breath, I want to congratulate Colosimo, thank you, Mr. Colosimo, for perfect attendance to the COG 2021. Good job. He didn't miss 1 minute. Thank you for representing.
Thanks.
Well, I got paid for it. Yes. Police chief.
No report, Council.
Oh, my God.
You have a report. I can
Everything
answer any
is taken care
questions.
of.
I can answer any questions that
Thank
need
you.
to be.
Solicitor Thomas.
Thank you, in my report as well, also happy to answer any questions. Well, I guess I probably know if folks have seen in the press, and with all the credit to our special counsel for South Fayette, Bridgeville, and Collier, Jim Schiavone and John Smith. The petitioners were totally victorious, contrary to some pundits' predictions in defeating the efforts to put a toll booth in 79, and totally rebuked the Commonwealth's efforts to do so. So the appeal period is pending, but it was a pretty sweeping victory for the Commonwealth.
Very good. Excellent job. Excellent. For your three municipalities. They got together and they make a good job. Thank you. Borough engineer?
We did submit a report dated July 5th. Nothing additional.
Any question for the engineer? Fire chief? You're delegate.
Yeah, I'm delegated. Thank you, Council President. During the month of June, we responded to 43 calls, 2 of which were building fires, 11 EMS calls on various other calls. For private announcements, we just added another member, which is a fully certified firefighter, 1 firefighter, ready to hit the ground running, and to add to our staff that we have already. We also wanted to reiterate, have a raffle of a 2022 Silverado
Bless you.
pickup truck. Bless you. That tickets are on sale numerous places throughout the borough, as well as at the firehouse. And that's pretty much it.
Anything for fire chief? Delegate. Anything for him? Okay, Sunbridge, my favorite miller. I've been sitting there for 10 years.
Other than to let the community know that COVID is making a comeback, BA version 4, BA4, and BA5 are starting to research, and they are extremely contagious. The good thing is that they're not as deadly as Delta wave was with the COVID. So you might see some masking coming back, where people who have permits or, medical problems, it might be wise to put on a surgical mask when they're out in groups and things like that, or stay up to date on your boosters. But it is, we are seeing an increase in the amount of calls we're getting for COVID and COVID positive patients, and it is backing up the EDs. We're getting a lot of emergency departments going on treatment delays, which means they're swamped, and it's going to be a while before they get you. Just for public health information. That's all I got.
Anything for EMS? Thank you so much, Mr. McGuire.
I was just gonna ask, the symptoms about the same as regular COVID on that?
Yeah, they're the fever. Some of them were getting like sore throats. Not as much as the loss of smell and taste that It's not as prominent as it was in the first wave of Delta, but cold and flu-like symptoms, if you get, weakness, headache, fever, definitely get tested and, see if it's COVID, so you can quarantine.
Thank you. Bridgeville Historical Society, Madam Mayor, you have anything for them?
Yes, we have no meetings during July and August, and President Mary Wise encourages you to stop at the Historical Society. Our mentor from Texas, James Briggs, has sent a huge amount of 1-pound bags of delicious nuts with pineapple and coconut and all at $5 a bag. So it's like you can stop and buy a bag.
I thought you were gonna say a bag of money.
I'll be
I was
in.
waiting. That's all? Thank you, Bill. The library, representative of the library, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Very good.
I just wanted to share a few programs that are upcoming at the library. We're deep into summer reading, so there's still time to get involved. This Wednesday, we have a special story time with artist Sarah Simmons. She's the artist responsible for Bedtime Stories 2, the sculpture that's on display as part of Bridgeville Public Art's inaugural outdoor sculpture exhibition. So that's this Wednesday at 1 o'clock. On Thursday, July 21st, we are meeting at Settlers Cabin Park with rangers from the Allegheny County Parks Association to do an owl prowl. On Saturday, July 23rd, we have an adult presentation about beekeeping. And then all throughout July, on Tuesdays, our friends of the library are celebrating Christmas in July. Tomorrow night they have a holiday-themed cooking demonstration. Next Tuesday is a family craft, and the last Tuesday, July 26th, is an adult craft. And that's an early preview for their Christmas Tree Festival, which they host every December as a fundraiser for the library. Thank you.
By the way, it was nice talking. Oh, I'm sorry.
So, are bees allowed in Bridgeville? I'm like, bees, like,
Bees.
I mean, like, keep bees?
It depends.
I'm just curious, like, like chickens,
Like chicken. It was very nice talking to you. I think it was on the day of the.
Yes, yeah, we had a great time.
It was wonderful. Some refreshing on my side, and there was very good communication between the both of us.
Yes, thank you.
I enjoy it very much. But I do agree, some people who have a suggestion to bring the mic back,
Open mic, yeah.
open mic, if you will, please. And make sure, I'm looking for another piano. Don't give her that away.
Okay.
Piano is very important in the library.
Yes.
Took me a while to get that piano.
Yeah.
That was a bad move.
Aren't you supposed
But
to be
it's
quiet
done,
in the
it's
library?
done. Huh?
Aren't you supposed to be quiet in the library?
Well, they are time when play for the kids, and so they enjoy that. But it's a good remark. Library, shh, I know that. Okay, sorry. Where am I? So Bridgeville Library, Parking Authority. I don't believe we have a representative. Yes. Stand up, say something.
Stay tuned.
Thank you. For what?
We've been requested to revisit the rates and the times. Next meeting, we're gonna vote on. You should have copies of the amendments that we're looking at.
Well, thank you, Mike.
Okay.
I'd like to also thank the parking authority for considering setting up that budget, at least having a conversation about it so you can analyze that financial data.
Good
So
idea.
thank you, Mike.
Good idea. Planning Commission, Ms. Tummer. Oh, Justine.
Well, there was not an official planning commission meeting,
Okay.
but we did have the steering committee meeting for the comprehensive plan. And we learned some economic information about Bridgeville due to the 2020 census. The effort is being made to get out there and encourage residents to participate in the questionnaire that that is available online. It's on a QR code on a pamphlet, in which case, Joe, I think we need some paper copies too, for those people that,
Of the survey.
yes.
It wasn't the talk though, we could do that, because like the talk was you come down here and we would help you, but if you would fill out a paper one, we could just.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Because, I mean, it's just so important for we to get as many residents as possible involved in this process. So, there we go. Here's your next duty.
That the steering committee, is that what you're talking about?
Where the planning committee has a steering committee meeting for the comprehensive plan. And what it is it'll move the process forward based upon recommendations that we have developed, all right? There are specific areas that we recognize that involve Bridgeville, like flooding, flood mitigation, traffic, parking, parks and recreation, that sort of thing. So we pretty much have outlined what we need to look at, and it's just taking that officially into a document that we can look at for the next 10 to 15 years to determine, it's sort of a guidebook for us. All right, we can look at it and say, okay, we need to do something about this. And the good thing about this comprehensive plan is it will provide us with the tools that can help us get through that process. So, and there will be 2 public meetings sometime in between now and the end of, probably in about another 12 months. There will be 2 public meetings. All residents of Bridgeville are encouraged to attend and give us their thoughts. We'll give you hopefully enough time. It's probably September or October.
Will that be
The
held here?
first one. Now, that's to be decided. All right.
It'll be on the monthly planning
It
calendar
will,
then?
yes, it will.
It won't be here. It won't be here.
No, I think when we did the active transportation plan, we had about 50 people, and that was over at the fire hall. So it's gonna be a similar situation. We'll give you probably a few things to think about before the meeting, and then you're encouraged to speak about anything in Bridgeville, what you want to see happen.
Thank you, Justine. The comprehensive plan, it has to be done every 10 years. And take it to the county, send it to the county, et cetera, et cetera. It's, I don't know if it's a law, probably it is, some sort of a policy that, whatever you call it, but every 10 years, it is, you have to do that. And the manager, engineer, who else was involved with this, they got a grant. After that, I believe, that was very, very good. It's very expensive, but the staff, they got a grant. And thank you so much. New business. Oh, Joe Coward, the manager, I was doing your part.
I'm the last one.
No, you
So
know, that's
everything is talked about.
all the goodies coming now.
So
Go
for
right ahead.
any questions on what I provided, I'm more than happy to answer it, but everything's been reported on.
Everything's going well.
There's a lot of activity right now. The demos on Baldwin Street are pretty much wrapping up. So they should be done hopefully by the end of the month. Paving's underway.
Very busy.
Sewer work's going on. The road crew's been busy with flood mitigation, new equipment came in, so it's good times.
Thank you so much, you and your staff, you did a good job.
We got a good team.
We always got to include the engineer, it's a part of the team. Of course. I've been a little disturbed, because I've been here in Bridgeville 62 years. I remember when there was meter on Washington Avenue, and the business was booming. I mean, all at one time. There is no meter over there. And there was a nice little district. We have a theater, we have a doctor over there. Now the little plaza has businesses. And parking, it is desirable, but I remember the young lady who was in some kind of therapy, and God bless her. She buys the Rankin building, if I don't make a mistake. The Rankin, some of those buildings, they have a parking in the rear. Like the Brescia has a parking in the rear, Dolby has a parking in the rear. I think the parking, as I recall, extend a little bit. They should check on that. And they have one entrance. They all have their entrance. It is an easement done years and years ago. I sort of recall that. And my memory's still good. So I don't know. I don't think I'm wrong. Somebody should tell them to check on their easement, because I always remember Mr. Rankin customers. He had a pedestrian, if you will call it. And there was no problem with the little park in the back. And there was meter on both sides of Station Street. But anyway, other than that, this council or previous council, it never wants to put people out of business. Never. That's no offense to us. I don't have nothing else to add. I need a motion.
To what, new business?
To, yes.
Okay, I have some new business. On Saturday, July 30th, the Beer Warehouse and the Rail Yard Grill and Tap Room will be closing Railroad Street down to have an event all day long. There will be 3 bands playing in the gazebo, inside the rail yard, and on Railroad Street between 12 and 9 p.m. There will be a pig roast, there will be food vendors, there will be beer tastings, and it should be a fun day. We'll be doing raffles and giveaways all day long. The opportunity to help thank our community for keeping those 2 businesses afloat for the last few years during COVID. And the hope is any money we raise will help put back into the community by just dispersing it equally amongst the different groups in this room: library, historical society, police, fire, EMS. So that's the goal. We're hoping, so we'll have Velveeta headlining the Cheesy A's music from 6 to 9 p.m. We'll have a local young man, Vince Sorsosimo, playing inside the rail yard from 3:30 to 5. And then in the gazebo, right here, Triangle Park, we'll have Smells Like the 90s from 12 to 3. So we'll have multiple vendors and pig roasts, and it should be a fun day. Yes, sir.
What times do you want to close the road out from, or what times?
I think the wish was to have it closed down from 11 a.m. until 11 p.m., just for posterity's sake. So that would be the hope, if possible. Thank you.
Does that leave you enough time to set up? 11?
Yeah. We've already come to an agreement with the parking authority, so we'll have those parking spaces. So they'll still use the road until around 11 a.m. But I do appreciate everyone's support. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask or email me, and I'll be happy to answer those as well.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.